Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be showing you how to get to the lovely Robinson R22 by CowanSims all nice and started. We'll do a little bit of maneuvers and then we'll shut down. Well, let's get started. So first of all, we do not have all the fun little bits and bobs to kind of play and tug on, which is kind of a shame. But one of the things I want to impress upon you as you take a peek at this thing is just how tiny this helicopter is. And I've made many comments about this helicopter in the past. This is, in my opinion, one of the best training helicopters you can get your hands on for flight sim. If you can fly this thing, you can fly it all. Let's get started. Literally. So what we need to do here is a couple different things. We need to get the engine started, and then we need to engage the rotors, and then kind of handle our systems and sort of run through our initial little kind of morning checks, so to speak, kind of a deal like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of reach above my head real quickly here. Hey, I've got a pair of those. And make our way up here. We're just going to confirm that the brake is indeed not engaged. You want to make sure we're not trying to stop the rotor. That's an important point of order here. These headphones, of course, you put them on in a minute. We're going to come down here. You've got your collective tension. We're just going to make sure that's all the way back, like you can see there. We're going to take our lovely throttle here, which is this guy. We're going to twist it all the way to the right. We don't need it on. And the governor, of course, you can see here is in the off position. That's perfectly fine. As people say, do you want to start on? Do you want to start off? The reality is the governor is really important when you get to the higher RPMs. So starting it in the on position is not going to bother anybody. Don't bother that one too much. Down here, of course, we have a couple other little switches. We have our cabin heat if we need it. We have our primer should we need it. You can see my hours. Oh gosh, a lot more than that. But we can see here, of course, if you need to do any priming, we have the ability to do that all down here, kind of by our legs. Another thing we have, of course, is our circuit breakers, which we can confirm all in the correct position real quickly. We have our ELT. We got a fire extinguisher in case something goes wrong. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set the mixture here. We're going to make sure this little cup's on it. Now notice I can't grab the mixture handle when the cup is in place like that. That's completely by design. We have a right-hand trim. To be honest with you, I've never touched it. And this is going to sound dumb. Well, I mean, I should say I played with it, but like I just don't use it, kind of a thing like that. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to come up to the control panel in the middle, and we're just going to confirm everything's in good shape here. We've got a battery. We want to make sure our clutch is disengaged, which it is. Our key is off. All of our critical avionics are off. All right. Let's start it. So starting this thing, relatively straightforward. The clutch kind of throws people for a loop, but it's not bad. But like I said, it's not too awful. So I'm going to come down here to where the throttle is. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to prime it. The way you prime it, you turn the fuel on, you go right like that. And that's it. We're primed. So if you're worried about it, of course, you can come up here and crank this up a little bit. I usually do about somewhere between 5 and 10% is pretty well cracked there. And that'll do a really nice job for us as far as making sure it starts smoothly. With that taken care of, we're going to come over here to our master battery and alternator. And we're going to turn on the master battery. We're going to turn on the alternator. We're going to come up to the key. In the real world, of course, we can fly with this door removed. You can see in this case, we could do one of those things, but just open up the door and yell, clear, rotor. Or just clear, let's be honest. So what you're going to do now is start the engine. All we're going to do is crank it and listen for the engine to start. That's it. Engine started, and you'll notice you get a couple quick little twists of the rotor blade. That's okay. Until the clutch is engaged, you're not going to get a lot out of it. You can see we're just sitting here. It's just sort of idling there. It's kind of warming up. You can see it's happily going. There's the cooling fan kind of doing its thing. This is a good time, of course, to kind of quickly run through and make sure all your settings are looking okay. We've got plenty of fuel for flight today, for example. The thing is running pretty smoothly. And now it is time to engage the clutch. What I like to do for this is I like to give it a little bit of RPM. You can see we're about 50%. Not too much. Like I said, you can crank it up just a little bit. And what that's going to do is it's just going to make it a little bit easier for us. So you're less likely to stall out when you do this. There we go. Give it, too much. Again, in the real world, it's extremely responsive. It's like revving a motorcycle, basically. There we go. Nice. And we're going to go ahead and engage the clutch. You're going to get a very angry orange light that's going to come on. You can see it's flickering angrily here. But one of the things you'll notice is RPM is going to dip a little as the clutch basically engages, and it makes an awful noise. Oh, that sounds awful every time I hear it. So what we're looking here for is basically that our engine RPM and then our rotor RPM both are going to be aligned with each other. And again, it's going to take a second for the rotor to actually catch up, but you can see it's doing a nice job right now. So now it's time to check our P's and T's. So our pressure is fine. Our oil temperature is good. Cylinder head temperature is too cold to fly right now, but that's okay because we're going to start warming everything up at about 70% RPM. So again, you can come back to your handy-dandy throttle real quickly here. Give it a couple victory twists. And again, you're just doing anything you can to kind of get it about 70% or so. You don't want to go too much higher than that, because if you do, the governor is going to grab onto it and do some silly things to you. There we go. You can see that's a pretty good warm-up spot. And now what you're keeping an eye out for is just waiting for the cylinder head temperature to come up. And you can see that it is just starting to come off the line there. So we have cylinder head temperature in the green. We're ready to continue the startup process here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently increase my throttle here. This is one of those things that trying to find just the right head position. And what you're trying to do is get the governor to basically grab onto the rotor. So if you look really carefully, see how we're just about to the bottom of that little red line right there? Give it just a little more. There it goes. The governor's got it. Let the governor do its thing. And you can see here in the real world, this whole throttle will be twisting. Like, yep, see how it's twisting back and forth? Completely 100% accurate. So now everything is started. We are clear to fly. We have electrical power. Everything is pretty much ready to go for us for the purposes of our flight today. And again, you can see everything is pretty straightforward. We've got our handed in a GPS should we need it. The cool thing here, of course, is depending on what version you want, you can actually come over here and change your GTN options. If you want to be like, you want an advanced version or simplified version, you can hit those switches and kind of get it. This is kind of handy. Like I said, very, very simple today. We're just going to kind of be going through the motions here of sort of the basic stuff. So with the helicopter all warmed up, it is now a good time to go ahead and make sure your controls are running pretty smoothly. On a helicopter, when you're sitting here on the ground, the controls are actually really, really heavy. Not like, oh my God, heavy, like, trying to find like a Bonanza 200 knots heavy or something like that. But it will have a little bit of weight to it. And they don't simulate that, but that's okay because you could pretend that this thing's hard to move. And again, wiggling it just a little bit, you realize immediately just how sensitive this helicopter is. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take off no delay because it is a hot summer day. It is very tempting, of course, to kind of sit here. This is Manchester High School. I don't think they'd be selling clothes to the window like that, but that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and take off no delay. We're going to confirm that our gauges are good. One last check of the P's and T's. Carburetor temperature is nice. It is a very humid day today, so it's unpleasant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start smoothly applying collective. And again, pulling the collective up, you can see immediately, see how the governor is kind of chasing it? That's exactly correct, and that's exactly what it does. So with this helicopter, you're going to get basically no warning. See how it's kind of gently twisting to the right there? What you're trying to do is you're trying to find exactly where that sweet spot is. And there's that sweet spot right there. We're just going to lift off the ground nice and gently. You don't want to lift off too high, otherwise you're going to rev up the manifold pressure very high. Looks like it's a lovely day, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick the nose down. I'm going to apply a smooth amount of collective. Just breathe. Just breathe. And that's it. Your helicopter's now got a little bit. We're going to pass the transitional lift point. You can see we're not getting any altitude. We're picking up speed. There's about 40 knots, and the helicopter suddenly just shoots up. And that is 100% accurate. Oh my God, is it a hot day today? This thing does not want to fly. And now we have ourselves cruising over at lovely Manchester, Connecticut, just like that. So this is kind of the downtown side of Manchester. Oh, they've got some of the commercial stuff kind of chilling over there. Now, the big thing with the Robinson helicopter is just for the sake of making yourself sane when you're still learning to fly this thing, you really want to make sure you keep yourself inside of the green arc as far as speed goes. You can see we're getting a nice calm climb at about 60 knots or so. That's going to be pretty easy. Like I said, nothing too bad. The one thing you want to monitor too at all times is just keep an eye on your manifold pressure. In the real world, we'd be a lot closer to that red line at this current power setting, at least where I have my collective right now. But again, it's just something you kind of keep an eye out for. We are an air-cooled engine, and if you actually take a look at this thing, let me go jump outside for a second here. You could see that the engine's not really in an optimum spot for air cooling, and that's, like I said, I'm very impressed, not impressed, I guess is kind of what I would say with it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take us over to Hartford real quick. Yeah, we're looking good. We've been cleared to land on the pad there. So with this particular helicopter, what you can see here, we're cruising very smoothly. It's about 15 inches. We're getting about 90 knots, which is plenty. I find with this one, because of the fact this thing has like no inertia compared to some of its competitor helicopters, if you want to call them competitor helicopters, you have to kind of be gentle with it on a descent. Let me show you kind of what I mean here. So like I said, I'm doing about 75. I'm going to go ahead and back the collective up. And we're going to back the collective up to get about 500 feet per minute should be fine. Like I said, it does not take much. Now, what you'll see here is at about 500 feet per minute. Let me fiddle with it a little bit more. I really wish I had like the real collective, but that's okay. You'll see this is perfect. We're about 10, 11, 12 inches here. This thing is sinking perfectly. We're not doing any sudden moves. And one of the things you want to remember is this is an easy to fly helicopter if you are going at the right speed. Once you start going a little fast or a little slow, it gets a little fun on you. The big thing is just stay in the green arc. You won't have an issue. All right, there's our lovely landing pad right there. Go ahead and continue our descent. And like I said, we're just going to kind of come swing around on runway 2 here. Fun thing about helicopters is your traffic pattern altitude is 500 feet, which is quite a bit lower than what you're probably used to if you're coming from the fixed wing land here, which is fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to whoop right around. You can see that's where the wind is coming from. A whoop right around, by the way, is a technical term for a long extended 270-degree right turn at an altitude of 275 feet. All right, let's do it. Good old Route 91. The traffic is not bad today. I'm telling you, these hot summer days, folks, it is hot. So one of the cool things here is for anybody who's played SimCity, this is like the industrial side of Hartford, and I mean industrial. You have to see it to believe it. But there's a really stupid merge right there. Let me see if you can see it. Yeah, see the stupid merge? Everybody tries to race you even though there's no room to race. I don't know. It's just funny every time I see it. All right, let's go ahead and bring this one in. So you can see here, I'm keeping us inside of the green, but at the same time as I'm trying to maintain enough energy here so that I don't have to basically drop out of the sky at the last second. You'll see what I mean. All right, we are out of the green, which means I kind of have to start thinking about your footwork a little bit here. Use just a little bit. Again, trying to fly level, and you can see our lovely helipad right there, and we're just going to kind of set ourselves for an approach. I wouldn't consider this a confined landing or anything along those lines, but the trick here is just try to keep moving forward. And when you're first learning, you'll find it's just easier to fly when you keep moving. It's kind of like keep swimming kind of thing for those of you who are finding Nemo. Hey, what happened to the fence? Who took the fence down? Folks, there's supposed to be a fence there, and apparently somebody traded the airplane to normally fly with something a little bit higher performance. All right, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to lift the nose up to slow down. And all you're going to do is play the collective game. Just play the collective game. You can see we're about 15 knots. So you're going to be transitioning to a hover. Keep in mind those last couple knots are really going to be a lot of work for you. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to transition to a hover just a couple inches off the ground here and then kind of settle. And again, we got a little bit of a crosswind to make things interesting for us today. And why is there so much traffic on runway or on Juliet today? Holy smokes, folks. There we go. And all we're going to do is sync. This is where it's a lot easier in the real world because you have peripheral vision. You don't have peripheral vision in the sim, so you have to kind of settle down the old-fashioned way. All right. So go ahead and wiggle your toesies, wiggle your hands. Get that tension out of your right hand there. Relax a little bit. Very nice. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start slowing things down to basically help cool off. You can see our engines are still pretty darn warm here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to disengage the governor. If you do not disengage the governor, you will not be able to slow the RPM down. So I'm going to go ahead and gently roll the RPM down. Now, you're going to get all sorts of angry warnings in a second. Basically, what's going to happen is you can see our RPM comes down. And just like we used the warm-up procedure before, we did that. Now, one of the things you can do if you're an awful person is you can actually pull the collective up and it acts as a brake. You're going to get a very angry alarm when you do that, but it does help slow things down. Again, our temperature's coming down much faster than it does in the real world. We're just going to roll the throttle down a little bit more. Give it a little bit of time. Again, it'll start coming down pretty quickly. There's about 70%. In the real world, usually you just sort of sit here for about a minute and a half at 70%. But like I said, we don't have to worry about that too much in this particular incantation of this airplane. You can see it's slowing down quite nicely. Very nice, very nice. We're about 50%. Go ahead and disengage this. We're going to go ahead and shut it off completely. Roll this right off, and it's going to go ahead and usually what happens is it basically stalls at this point. When that's looking good, we pop the cup. Pull this one off like this. Everything's going to come down. Obviously, we'd want to shut our avionics and everything off, but it's okay because that's going to come down next. And there it goes. The engine's out. Go ahead and clear our lights. Lights. Go ahead and clear the key as well. And now what we want to do is we want to get that rotor to stop rotating. So we're going to pull the rotor brake out like that. And things should stop in a few moments. I'll go ahead and climb outside. I'm just going to reach up with my hand and grab it real fast. Ow. There it goes. And it slows down. And as you can see, fabulous little helicopter. Incredibly fun to fly a little helicopter. And at the end of the day, not too complicated. Enjoy.